My family skipped my PhD graduation from MIT to attend my sister's engagement party. They called me from the party to rub it in, only to realize their guest of honor's entire success was a fraud I had built, and I was holding the kill switch. This is where the story truly begins, and you won't want to miss what happens. Make sure you're subscribed to see it through to the end. We're always curious. Where in the world are you all watching from today? Let us know in the comments. The smell of stale coffee and ozone from my lab servers clung to me like a second skin. For 6 years, this had been my life. I was 28 years old, exhausted, and just days away from defending my doctoral dissertation. I was about to become Dr. Audrey Collins, a specialist in autonomous AI logistics. I finally had a moment to call my family, buzzing with the need to share the news. I hit the video call button. My mother, Alina, picked up, her face a little too smooth, her hair perfectly blonde. "Audrey, honey, is everything all right? You look pale," she said, her eyes darting off screen. "I'm great, Mom. I'm amazing. I passed. I'm done. My defense is scheduled. I'm graduating." The reaction was a polite, thin smile. "Oh, that's wonderful, dear. Just wonderful." I heard a squeal in the background. My sister, Sienna, bounced into frame, waving a manicured hand. A massive, blinding diamond sat on her finger. "Audrey, oh my God, guess what?" she shrieked. My father, Mark, appeared behind her, beaming. He hadn't beamed at me since I won a middle school spelling bee. "Go on, Sienna, tell her." Julian proposed. We're engaged. The rest of the call was a blur of fawning over Julian, the tech visionary she'd been dating for 6 months, and the sheer size of the ring. My own news, the culmination of nearly a decade of relentless, grueling work, was buried under an avalanche of wedding colors and venue discussions. "We're just so proud of her," my father said, his voice thick with emotion. "She's finally getting everything she deserves." "What about me, Dad? I'm graduating from MIT." He waved a hand dismissively. Of course, but this is Sienna, Audrey. This is a real milestone." I stared at the screen, the static in my lab humming louder than their voices. The betrayal was so casual, so complete, it left me breathless. The official invitation arrived 2 days later. It wasn't a call or a text. It was an embossed, cream-colored card that must have cost a fortune. My name was printed in swirling gold calligraphy. "Mark and Alina Collins request the honor of your presence at the engagement celebration of their daughter Sienna to Julian Hayes." I checked the date, then I checked it again. It was the exact same day as my graduation ceremony. Not just the same day, but the same time. My hands trembled as I called my mother. "Mom, there's a mistake on the invitation," I said, my voice tight. "A mistake? Oh heavens, what? Is the zip code wrong?" "The date, it's my graduation day, you know that. I sent you the schedule." There was a long, uncomfortable silence. "Oh, that," she finally said, her voice breezy. "Yes, well, it was the only weekend the club had available, and Julian's family is flying in from Europe. It just couldn't be moved, Audrey. You understand." You're not coming to my graduation." "Don't be dramatic," she snapped. "We'll be at the party. It's a critical event for Julian's investors. We'll celebrate your paper some other time. You can just get your diploma in the mail, can't you?" I sank into my lab chair, the world tilting. "My paper? It's a doctorate, Mom, from MIT." "And we're very proud," she said, the lie hanging in the air. "But Sienna needs us. This is the biggest night of her life. Don't be selfish." The call ended. I sat in the silence, the crushing weight of their choice settling over me. They weren't just skipping it, they were dismissing it as an inconvenience. They had made their choice. They had chosen the show, the glitter, the lie, but they had forgotten one crucial thing. They had forgotten what exactly I do for a living. My family has always operated on 2 different wavelengths, Sienna's and mine. Sienna was the golden child, the lifestyle blogger whose entire career consisted of posing with sponsored products. She was beautiful, charming, and knew how to perform. I was the difficult one, the bookworm. While Sienna went to parties, I was coding. While my parents paid for her brand new convertible, I was applying for research grants. I even worked as a TA to help pay for her tutors in college, a fact everyone seemed to have forgotten. My achievements were abstract, complicated. Sienna's were tangible, a high follower count, a pretty picture, and now, a rich fiancé. Julian was the physical embodiment of everything they valued. He was all charisma, designer suits, and vague, impressive-sounding buzzwords. "We're not just a co. M. Paney," he'd said the one time I met him, "we're a paradigm shift. We're disrupting the synergy of the entire logistics vertical." It was meaningless corporate speak. When I tried to ask him a technical question about his AI integration, he'd laughed, patting my shoulder. "Don't you worry your pretty little head about the code, Audrey. You stick to your books. I handle the real-world business." My parents ate it up. They saw his flashy car and heard the word visionary and imagined their own status climbing right alongside his. They saw me in my worn-out jeans and university hoodie and saw a dead end, a permanent student. They didn't understand my work, and because they didn't understand it, they couldn't brag about it at their country club. Therefore, it had no value. Their support, their money, their future hopes, it was all being poured into Julian. The day of my graduation, the sky over Cambridge was a brilliant, cloudless blue. I sat in the sea of black robes, my heart a cold, heavy stone in my chest. When they called my name, Dr. Audrey Collins, the applause from my cohort was loud, but I felt the empty seats where my family should have been like a physical wound. My mentor, Dr. Elias Vance, the 62-year-old department head who had been more of a father to me than my own, found me afterward. He handed me a glass of champagne. "They don't know what they're missing, Audrey," he said, his eyes kind. "But the world will." "Thanks, Elias." "Speaking of," he said, "have you been following this new startup? Etha Tech. They're making a lot of noise, trying to get a Series A funding round. The CEO is a real showman, Julian Hayes. The name sounds familiar." My champagne glass stopped halfway to my lips. "Julian Hayes, he's my sister's fiancé." Elias frowned. "Really? Well, their tech demo is surprisingly robust. They're claiming a breakthrough in autonomous drone routing." My blood went ice cold. Autonomous drone routing, my dissertation. That night, I skipped the celebrations. I went back to my apartment and did what I do best. I investigated. I found Etha Tech's pre-investor demo site. It was password protected, but the security was amateurish. I was in within 90 seconds. And there it was, my work, my code. Not just the concepts, the actual code. Lines and lines of my proprietary algorithms, the unique architecture I had spent 3 years developing. He hadn't even bothered to change the variable names. I opened my private cloud drive. I checked the access logs. My stomach heaved. There, from 6 weeks ago, access granted, Sienna, Collins. She must have given him the password. He had stolen my entire PhD and was using it to build his company. The initial shock quickly crystallized into a cold, hard rage I had never felt before. He hadn't just stolen my work, he had stolen my future. My family hadn't just skipped my graduation, they had skipped it to celebrate the man who was actively trying to ruin me. I scrolled through the stolen code on his server, my fingers flying across the keyboard. Julian was a flashy salesman, not a coder. He had stolen the engine, but had no idea how it actually worked. He was just showing off the shiny exterior. And that was his mistake. When I was building the core of my logistics AI, I had embedded a security fail-safe. It was a backdoor, a hidden command that only I knew. It was designed to lock the system down and display its true ownership credentials in case of a corporate data breach or intellectual property theft. I looked at the command line, the cursor blinking patiently. Debug init auth key Audrey. It was a digital bomb, and Julian had unknowingly placed it right in the center of his own party. I immediately called my new lawyer, a specialist in intellectual property law that Dr. Vance had recommended. I spent the next hour walking her through the server logs, the code comparison, and my access logs. "This is the clearest case of IP theft I have ever seen, Dr. Collins," she said, her voice sharp. "We can file an injunction right now." "No," I said, looking at the invitation on my desk. "Not yet. He's presenting the demo live to investors tonight at his engagement party. I want to wait." The lawyer was silent for a moment. "That's aggressive. I like it. Let them all be in the same room when the fraud is exposed. It makes the damages that much more significant." We finalized the plan. Dr. Vance agreed to be my expert witness. The trap was set. The hours leading up to the party were the longest of my life. My lawyer was on standby, ready to file the injunction and cease and desist orders the second I gave the word. Dr. Vance had mobilized a few colleagues who were now watching the Ethatech demo site, documenting every stolen line of code for our lawsuit. My phone rang. It was my father. "Audrey," he said, his voice clipped and cold. "I just got a very strange alert from my lawyer, something about an IP claim." My lie. Had sent a preliminary, intent to file, notice to the party's host location, a standard move to establish a timeline. Julian must have seen it. "He's right here," my father continued, "and he's very, very upset. What do you think you're doing, trying to sabotage Sienna's big night?" "He stole my work, Dad." "Don't be ridiculous," he scoffed. "Julian is a genius. He told us you might get jealous and try to claim his ideas were yours. I am telling you, as your father, to stop this nonsense right now. You are embarrassing this family." "Is that all?" I asked, my voice as cold as his. "You're going to ruin Sienna's happiness, after everything we've given you." I hung up. The betrayal was complete. He didn't even bother to ask for my side. He had heard genius and money from Julian, and that was all the proof he needed. My father, my own father, was accusing me of being a jealous liar to protect the con man who was engaged to my sister. That was the moment any lingering doubt vanished. I wasn't just protecting my work anymore. I was taking back my life. I looked at the clock. 7:00 p.m. The party was starting. I opened my terminal window and logged into his server. I was ready. My phone buzzed again at 8:15 p.m. This time it was Sienna. I let it ring. A text appeared. "Answer the phone, we're all watching." Then a video call request. I accepted but left my camera off. Their faces filled the screen, all of them. Sienna, Julian, my parents, standing on a small stage. Behind them was a massive projector screen displaying the Ethatech logo. The room was packed with people in black tie, all holding champagne glasses. "Audrey, darling," Sienna cooed, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. "We're just so sad you couldn't make it. You're missing the biggest night." "We're just about to toast to the future," Julian said, slinging an arm around Sienna. He looked directly into the camera. "To real-world success, Audrey. Something you'll understand one day when you're done with your little school projects." The crowd chuckled. My mother looked proud. "In fact," Julian continued, "I'm giving my investors, including my new family," he gestured to my parents, who beamed, "a live demo of the platform that's going to make us all very, very rich." "That's wonderful, Julian," I said, my voice dangerously calm. "I'm looking at the demo site right now. It looks incredible. So fast, so robust." Julian preened, "Only the best." "It's so stable," I continued. "I'll bet it's stable enough to run a level 1 diagnostic, right? Just to show everyone how strong the architecture is. Why don't you try running debug, init auth key, Audrey? Just type it into the admin console. I'm sure everyone would be impressed." Julian's brow furrowed. "A debug key?" "Yes," I said, "a stability diagnostic, unless you're afraid it won't work." Sienna nudged him, whispering, "Go on, Julian, show her." Arrogance won. Smirking at the camera, Julian turned to his laptop and typed the command. "Fine, debug init auth key, Audrey. Enter." Instantly, the demo on the projector screen behind him vanished. The Ethatech logo disappeared. The entire system crashed. It was replaced by a stark, black screen with a single line of text in plain white font. This code is the stolen intellectual property of Dr. Audrey Collins, MIT. All rights reserved. Legal action is pending. A collective gasp sucked the air out of the room. The silence on the video call was absolute. Julian's face was a mask of pure, reptilian panic. He hammered at the keyboard, but my code had locked him out completely. What is this?" One of the investors in the front row shouted. "Julian, what is the meaning of this?" Sienna's perfectly made-up face crumpled. "Audrey, what did you do? You ruined my party." "I didn't do anything, Sienna," I said, my voice cutting through the speakerphone. "Julian did. He stole my PhD dissertation. You gave him access. You both thought I was just a bookworm. You thought my work was a little school project. Well, that little project was the only thing of value your fiancé had." My father's face was ashen. "Audrey, no." "Julian," I said, "my lawyer filed the injunction the moment you typed that command. The one you're receiving right now. The investors, they'll be getting a full package of evidence tomorrow morning, showing every line of my code you claimed as your own. Oh, and Mom and Dad, I suggest you don't sign those investment papers. That money is gone." I hung up. The fallout was immediate and catastrophic. Julian was a fraud. The investors, furious, filed a lawsuit the next day. He was ruined. Sienna, publicly humiliated, locked herself away. My parents, who had co-signed on Julian's business loans using their house as collateral, were facing financial ruin. They came to me, of course. A week later, they were at my apartment begging. "You have to help us," my mother wept. "We're your family." "When I knee." "Dead my family," I replied, closing the door. "You were at a party." I took the high-profile job at the top AI firm in the country, the one Julian had been trying to compete with. My research, now properly copyrighted and secured, was celebrated. I used the significant signing bonus to move to a new city, far away from the wreckage. Dr. Vance and I are now working on a new foundation to support young women in STEM. My parents were forced to sell their house. Sienna, I heard, is now working as a receptionist. They still send me messages, but I don't read them. I'm too busy building my future. Theirs, they learned, was never really theirs to begin with.